If you've heard people talk about the ESO Playtest Server, or PTS, and want to know more, stick around because I have the what, how, and why for you. Hello my fellow Tamrielites, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. Let's talk PTS. First off, what is it? The PTS is a completely separate ESO game server used to test new content before it goes to the live server. People always say PTS, but the terms Public Test Server and Playtest Server are used interchangeably. Access to the PTS is not restricted. Anyone with an ESO account can log into it for free. It's exactly the same ESO Tamriel, except with new content in place. It does not connect to the live server in any way, so nothing you do there affects your characters or account. We'll talk in a moment about why you might want to visit the PTS, but first, how do you get there? To access the PTS, first open your ESO launcher and click on the options icon in the upper right-hand corner. Scroll down until you see Show Public Test Environment. Click that radio button, then click Apply, then return to the main launcher screen. On the left-hand side of the launcher screen, you will now have two options where before there was only one. The first is still ElderScrollsOnline, and below that will be the new second option, the ElderScrollsOnline PTS. Click that to select it. Your launcher will then show Install instead of Play like mine does. Because the PTS is not connected to the live server, it is a completely separate game and has to be downloaded separately. It will take as much space on your hard drive as the live game, so make sure you have the space available. And don't plan on being able to play immediately, as the first download will take as much time as real ESO did. Once the PTS is installed, you'll click Play as usual to get to the login screen. Note that the login screen tells you at the top and bottom of the screen that you're on the PTS. Your password will be the same, so enter it as usual. The character selection screen may surprise you, however, because the PTS switches back and forth between copies of the North American and European servers. The cycle is this. ZOS does a Twitch stream announcing the content of their quarterly patches about 6 weeks before the content goes live. The PTS is updated with that content shortly after the stream. In order to truly test the patch, ZOS doesn't maintain a dummy world. Instead, a copy is made of the North American server and the patch is implemented into the copy, which is then pasted onto the PTS server. This lasts 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, the European server is copied, patched, and pasted onto the PTS, overriding the North American accounts and giving EU players a chance to test. After 2 weeks of that, it switches back to a fresh copy of the North American server. So the PTS is constantly cycling through copies of the two live servers, and since neither the PTS nor live servers affect each other, when logging in you might see your account as it was a few days prior, or you may see a different server than normal. This may sound like a huge downside, but you probably won't be playing your usual characters anyway. If that sounds bizarre, then it's a nice segue into the why would I play on the PTS if it isn't the real game and the world is always being overridden? Allow me to introduce you to the template character. In the character generation screen, in the upper left, there's a drop-down menu. One of the options is to build a standard 0-level character, another one is one at level 25, and the last is a maxed-out level 50 character with all CP points. But that is not all this character has. Oh no, they are loaded when they appear in the world. Let's take a look at her backpack. Template characters start with 1,000,000 gold and a stack of containers. The basics are all taken care of for you. You've got food, lockpicks, soul gems, all of that, and every version of them you might want. There's also a bag of gear, and I mean all the gear. Almost all the gear. If you want to know how much that meta gear will change your DPS, you can try it out here and see. You can play with all combinations you're curious about and then farm the sets you like best on the live server. You'll also see that all the new gear sets are included as well. This is how the build experts are able to release new builds before the content goes live. They're testing it on the PTS. And bless them for that. I am so glad that people who can math take care of all that for me. It frees me up to grapple with the truly important questions of my life, like if I go to the trouble to farm that dye color, am I going to hate the way it looks on my armor? Or, one of my perennial favorites, if I spend millions to buy that pattern, will the furnishing even fit in the house where I want it? Seriously, I first came to the PTS because I was decorating Earthtear and I was new enough that I didn't have a lot of resources to either make a lot of furnishings or to spend money buying things. So I tested everything big on the PTS. In addition to the 1,000,000 gold you'll get with every template character you build, your PTS crown balance resets to 5,500 crowns each day, and almost everything in the crown store is 1 crown, including the houses, which you own anyway because you opened the bag of deeds. And let's not forget maybe the most obvious why for you to log into the PTS: the new content. This may be a bad example because I know many of you don't like Tales of Tribute, but I tried Tribute for the first time on the PTS, immediately fell in love with it, and played it almost every night until High Isle went live. When it did, I was over the learning curve and could dive right in. In the vein of exploring new content, I also come to the PTS to figure out and prioritize the new rewards so that when the content goes live, I can efficiently chase the specific things I want. That's why I do reward compilation videos. I want to figure it out for myself, so I might as well share. There are probably as many reasons to log into the PTS as there are people who do, but I want to close with pretty much the most important one: feedback. ZOS really is putting content out there to be tested. This week, ZOS made a fairly major change to the Endless Archive based on feedback from players who said a particular piece of it was tedious, and ZOS shortened that part. That wouldn't have happened if people hadn't bothered to log in, test it, and give their feedback. So there you have it: the what, the how, and a bunch of whys, though certainly not all of them. I hope you found it helpful. The video showcasing all rewards from the Update 40 patch will be out a few days before the patch goes live on October 30th. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may all your loots be elite.